Alright, so now let's create a landing page for your website. Landing pages are what you use as a kind of marketing site for a specific purpose. So for example, you would have a landing page for a new product launch, for example. Say you sell digital products, you sell courses, and you want to launch a new online course, then you have a sales page or landing page for that that goes through like all of the features and what's included and who is it best for and so on, and then kind of prompts the website visitor to take action, to purchase the course, to enroll in the waitlist or something similar. There are a couple of things that are really important for these landing pages, and that's why I wanted to show you how I might go about building one of these landing pages myself, and I want to show you kind of my thought process and how I use different sections to communicate what I'm trying to do. So first of all, landing pages are usually about selling something. It doesn't have to be selling something that actually costs money. It could also be selling something like access to an email list or a free resource. Or in other words, you're trying to get the website visitor to do a specific thing. So this is something that's really important. You need a clear call to action. You need something that you clearly want the user to do so that he or she knows what you want from them and that they go into one clear direction. Also, you need clear messaging. So you need the website copy to be on point and to reflect what you're trying to sell, to speak to the people that you are trying to sell to. And again, that doesn't matter if it's a paid product or if it's something like a free resource where you just want them to maybe like enter in the email address or share something online, whatever it might be. But that's enough for the talking. Now let's get right into building the landing page. Again, this is the landing page I actually used previously, so we're just going to rebuild it and I'm going to show you kind of my thought process behind it. So we can do this by going to Elementor or to templates and then going on the landing pages section. Now this has recently been introduced by Elementor. You don't need to do it like this, so you could just create a normal page pretty much, but they newly added this feature to have this kind of landing page flow right here. So we can click on landing pages and then we can say add new landing page. Now we actually get this template library that shows us different templates for landing pages that we could use if we wanted to. So there are a lot of these templates that have been added by Elementor themselves, but we're just going to start off from scratch right now, so we don't need to take a look at these. We're just going to close this out, and you could also always go back to the templates by clicking on the templates button. So the first thing we'll create is like the top section, which is also the first thing that people see when they come to the website. So it's important that this is well optimized for that purpose and that you have content there that actually makes sense for people and that kind of sums up what the page is about. So as I said, we'll just start off creating our section. We'll do the usual in that we just create this, we add this bit of padding on the left and the right just to make it a bit more, look a bit better. And then we want to add in a heading. We want to add in a bit of text. And for this, we also want to add our logo to the top. So we'll just choose an image. We'll drag it to the top and we'll select our logo. Again, something that I've previously added to my library here. You can just use your logo just like however you want to use it. All right, and now we're going to add a bit of padding here as well. So maybe like 2 at the bottom and the top. Add in a extra heading and we're going to align them in the middle, just like the text. The text is also going to be a bit bigger, so we're going to choose the big text style, and then we will have one of these as a subheading. One of these is going to be like our main title, so it will get a H1 tag, and also we'll change the size to the H1 heading, so make it a bit bigger like this. And then the second one will be much smaller and it will also be in our primary color like this. Now we need to make it a bit smaller, so maybe we'll go with like heading 5. I think that should be all right. Maybe I'll rearrange it again, but we'll see. I probably have to work a bit on the padding here as well, so make this a bit smaller because the distances between the individual elements was just a bit too much for me. So yeah, we'll add a bit of padding here as well. So click on the percentage symbol right here as well, and then we'll add a bit of bottom padding, so we like two pixels. All right, and so the page that we're trying to create, as I said earlier, is going to be for a imaginary free online course. Maybe, let's say, just about learning digital marketing. We'll just kind of keep it pretty generic and not do too much here, because it's not about the content, but it's more about how we actually lay out these pages. All right, so maybe then we want our title to be something like Learn to Market Your Business Online. And then this might be something like who is this for? So who's like the target audience for this product? So this might be something like for business owners and marketers. Something like this, for example. We might also want to change the typography and transform this to uppercase, and maybe put the weight a bit down, maybe like 500, and also give it a bit more letter spacing, something like this. Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much, but let's just leave it like this. For this text, we'll actually go with a bit of padding on the sides as well, just like previously. Something like 15 maybe on both sides to make it a bit more centered, and yeah, so that it just looks much better. All right, I think that should be fine for the top section. So this is like the introduction. It's like a short intro to what we're about to talk about on this page. Then we might have like a little kind of sales video, even if it's a free course. You can obviously use the same kind of landing page or your same kind of sales page for a paid course as well. So that doesn't really matter. And we're going to create a section that has 2 columns. And one of them is going to be the video. Oh, sorry, it's going to be a video. So you can choose something like from YouTube or other content source. It doesn't really matter as well. We are going to add in a heading in here. We're going to add in a button as well. And also we're going to add in a icon list. So what we used previously for things like contact information and so on. And in here we might enter something like your chance to grow your digital presence, something like this. Or just grow your digital presence. We don't even need the your chance thing. We just want to keep it simple, just like that. Okay, now we want this to align in the middle as well, just like we did all the time. And for this video, yeah, we can just keep the placeholder, it doesn't really matter. And for the button, maybe we'll say get the course for free, something like this, as like a call to action, because we want to give a free course away for free. Then this would be what our call to action would look like. Okay, now for this, we want to actually have all of these have this little checkbox check icon. So we're just going to duplicate the first one so that they all have the check symbol. And then we're going to edit the style. So one thing we're going to edit is the icon color. I think in this case, I actually want to do something that we haven't done before. I want to do some kind of green, because it just makes more sense with these checkboxes often. It just looks nicer with a green color. So I think that should be fine. And then for the text, I think we might go with, yeah, just keep the text style, but make the typography a bit bigger. So something like the big text. And then also making the icon a bit bigger, something like this. And then we could have like the different like advantages you get when you actually watch the course. So something like create your website. And another one might be something like advertise on Facebook. I don't know, it's just really random, but I think you get what I'm saying. Get the idea. And then the third one might be something like build your newsletter, things like this. Okay, so we've got the like basics of our landing page done, and now we have like the top section, which is what you will see when you get to a page. And this is really important because this is the first impression that people get, so they need to know what they're going to get into when they access the page immediately, because obviously people don't stay around forever. If you can't give them something that they're interested in, then they will leave your website, and that's not what you want to do. So this has to be something that's right on point and really catches their attention. Next, we'll again have the logo section that we created. So this is something that we can frequently reuse. We'll go to learnwithjanosch.com again, and we'll just click on Edit with Elementor. And now we can just take the section that we created here again, just copy that and paste it in right here. Should be fine. Maybe even again remove the padding on top, because we want it to actually appear right when we when someone accesses the page. But I'm seeing right now, I think it looks a bit weird like this, so maybe I do want to give it some padding. I'm just looking like what it would look like best, so maybe like this, for example, and give this section a bit of padding as well. Yeah, you just need to like try around a bit and see what works best. I think this would be a decent option though. Something like this. Let's see. I'm not 100% happy with the result, but I guess we'll just go with it. And yeah, it doesn't matter too much. Obviously, you can just take your time and make this look perfect. But going into too much detail and too much refining the individual sections too much would just make the length of this course explode. So I'm trying to keep things interesting, and that's why I think we'll just leave it like this. Right, next we'll create a section that kind of focuses on problems that potential users of this course might have. This is a common theme with these types of landing pages, so talking about a problem or several problems that your target audience is facing, and then going into detail on how what you're offering is a solution to that problem, and seeing how you can address these problems that they're facing. So we're going to create this problem section right here, which will be where we cover all of these different problems that people might have. So first we might want to have a section that just says, or just has the title, something like sounds familiar, and then after that we are going to list out the problems. So we're going to have this get a bit of spacing. So again, same as always, I'd say top as well and bottom as well. Maybe we want a bit more padding on top and a bit less on the bottom, like this. And then we create the next section, same procedure, again giving it a bit of padding like this and like that. And then we want to add different sections to it. So we're just going to create 3 columns. Just duplicate like this. And we are going to create 3 different columns, but we want to style one first and then just duplicate that so that we kind of save a bit of time. So what we do is we add in a heading, we're going to add in a text, and we're also going to add in, I think we want to have an icon. Yeah, something like this. So right here. Then the text style right here is going to be the H3. And this icon is going to be aligned to the left. Then we might want to have we want to give this column a color, so we want this to be like the primary in the low saturation. So in this case, we want to give it the same padding on each side, so it will be 5% on each side, and also we want 1% of margin, because otherwise these would be right next to each other, so we want them to have a little bit of space, maybe even 2%. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 2% is the better choice here. So now we're going to change the icons to the primary color. We're also going to change the text to the primary color. Oops, just need the text color right here. And then this is going to be just the normal text color. Yeah, perfect. Then we can add in the problems or the things that we want to talk about, the issues that your target audience is facing. Something like, in the case of this, in the case of marketing your business online, it would be no digital reach, something like this. or it could be no customers coming to your shop, or you're struggling to find clients for your business, or whatever it might be. You get the idea. We're not trying to actually go into detail on this, so we're just going to leave it like that. The icon would obviously be a bit different for this, so maybe it would be a megaphone, something like that. I think there's an icon for that, or like a speaker. Volume. Yeah, could do something like this. Maybe that's what we want it to look like, I don't know. And then we'll change the widget space so that the spacing between these different widgets is not too big. Something like this. So yeah, not looking perfectly, but I think it would be fine. Maybe I want to do this and make it the secondary color. And I think now we should be fine. We can duplicate these just like we did earlier. And now we're going to delete the rest, so that we actually have our 3 different boxes here. So this would be then our 3 different problems, for example, that the customer might be facing and that we are addressing with our problem, with our solution, sorry. After we've now talked about the problems that your visitors might be facing, it's now time to suggest a solution. So we're going to create a section that kind of talks about what it is that you're offering, in this case, the free course, and how this actually helps your website visitors and your audience with the problems they're having. So for this, we'll create a new section and we'll make this a bit more spaced out than the other ones, because we want to have this like kind of like a dramatic effect even. That we have a bit of a padding at the top and the bottom, maybe even 7%, sorry. And yeah, then we can start adding in our content. So what we'll do is we'll have a heading, and we'll make this into a smaller heading. Actually, I think I'm going to call it something like introducing, and then I'll have like a couple of dots to like build up the tension even. And then we can edit the text color. Maybe we want something like the actual color of the text on the page. I think we will make this a bit smaller as well. So maybe like, yeah, this size looks good. And then we will start by adding in some content for what's to come. So we'll have a bit of padding here as well, because we want this to be a bit separated from the introduction. So we might say something like putting top of 10. I think that should be fine. We're going to insert an image here. And this image is going to be like the like an introduction to our product. So I think I've uploaded it already. I just need to refresh right now. All right, so here's the image that we will be using. It's just something that I have built for one of my earlier projects. We'll make this into a 50% width. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Maybe even like 60% to make it a bit bigger, but I think we don't need that much more. And we'll also turn down the padding a bit because I think it's a bit too much. Something like this. This should be fine. All right, now we're going to add in a heading here as well. And this is where we will be actually introducing the product or the course. So we'll say the free course on digital marketing. This obviously is terrible marketing, but you get the idea, as always. Okay, now we will want to add in a bit of a placeholder. I think like a line. I don't know what it's called in English here. I think it's the divider. Yeah, right. Okay, that's what I want to add. This is like a kind of like a little line. It doesn't do much, but just display this short little line. And we want this to be a bit thicker, so we want to say maybe like 3. Yeah, this is what I want. And then make this a bit smaller even, maybe even like 7%. Yeah, something like this. Make this be the blue tone right here. And then we want to have like a short text introduction to the solution, so to our course. This will be a bit bigger because obviously on this page everything pretty much is important content, so we're going to make it a bit bigger, and then we'll also again be adding a bit of padding on both sides. I think even again I'll go with 15% because that's just a nice amount so that it like kind of aligns more to the center. I think this should be fine. All right, so this is the product we're introducing, and now we'll be talking about some of its benefits. Here we'll be using a similar layout that we used in one of the previous videos. So we'll drag in a inner section, and we want to add 3 columns, and then we will just have a heading in here actually, and we want to have an icon. And it will just be an icon like this check mark icon again that we used earlier, like this. And then the text will kind of display one of the benefits of the course, for example. So we'll make this into an H4 tag, so it gets a bit smaller. We align it to the center, and we want to make this icon blue. Yeah, I think blue would be the best color for that. And I think we want the spacing to be 10 as well. Now this is this looks better. And yeah, I think this will just be the benefits. So we'll just say benefit 1. So you could just write out all of the benefits of your course in here, and we'll just duplicate that 3 times. So we'll delete these, and we'll say this is benefit 1, benefit 2, maybe we have benefit 3 as well. And then we could actually even duplicate that and have like even more benefits if we wanted to. So add a bit of padding in here to make these 2 sections a bit spaced out like this. And now we could say benefit 4, benefit 5, and benefit 6 to complete our setup here. Next, we'll create a section that goes over the things that you get when you sign up for the course, so that you kind of get a better feel for what you're actually signing up for. Again, a normal section is required here. We want 2 columns this time again. And this will be a bit special because we need to use individual inner columns, inner sections in one of the columns here to make this layout work. Let's first start off with the first column right here. So we're going to have an image in here. We're also going to use a heading. I think even we're going to use 2 headings maybe. I think that's better. And then we're going to use a text editor like this. And then we will have like, this will be an image of what's inside of the course. So we'll just use this mockup I created once. The color theme doesn't exactly line up, but yeah, again, it doesn't really matter that much. We'll add a bit of padding to this section. So maybe like 5%. Maybe that's even too much. I'll just see, I want to add one more padding here. Yeah, so let's go with 4% padding actually. And then we want to give this a background as well. So we want to give it a background color. Maybe we'll just use something like the blue, like this low saturation blue. Obviously it doesn't really work that well with the red tone, but just ignore that for now. It doesn't really matter too much. And then we could say something about like what this actually is. So we could say the full course on digital marketing, to make it fit the line on marketing. And then this like subheading will be something like 15 high quality videos, something like this. I think that should be fine. We'll again go in and change the color, and we'll make this much smaller. I'm thinking H5. Yeah, something like this should be fine. Again, we're using bold text all over this page because I think it just fits the whole style of the page better. So something like this. Then we need this to actually have a border as well, because it just looks better if we have a border around it, a 5 pixel I'd say. And I think that should be fine for now. We'll go over and we'll actually start by working on the second column. And this is where we'll actually add in the inner section. So it will look pretty similar to this, but we just want it to be smaller because this is like the main part of the course. And then there's like some added bonuses that will be like a bit smaller, just to give it some visual hierarchy and to highlight that this is the most important and biggest part of what you're getting when you're signing up for the course. So we'll actually just copy over like the content, and then we'll just do some changes to it. So we'll just duplicate all of these. This also works, so you can just duplicate the content like this, and we can drag it over here like this. Same for the image, drag it in here, and then also the same for the text, duplicate that, and then drag it over here. Now, obviously it's too big right now, so we want this to be a bit smaller. We need the image to be, it probably can't be full size, so we'll go with something like 50% and align it to the left, and then the text will be much smaller on both of these. So we'll go with maybe like H6, and here we'll go with H3 as a font style. I think that's even too big, so I might even go with H4. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And then for the text style, I'll be using the for the text, I'll be using the normal text style that we created. And I think that should be fine, right? And now we're going to create the same blue outline, like the same blue background for this as well. So we'll add a bit of padding, let's say like 3%. And I don't think we need, we need some kind of margin. So I'll leave it like that, and I'll add a bit of margin, add the padding, and then also add a bit of margin like this. Just one on all sides, and yeah, it should be fine. I'm guessing that we don't need this then anymore, don't we? Yeah, it should be fine like this. And also, I think the spacing is a bit too much right here, so I'd say we go with 10% widget space again. This looks better. Actually, I think I need to apply the spacing to this intersection right here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it like this, and then remove the padding from that again, because I don't think we need that. And also, I think I'm not going to apply the top padding, because we want this to be on the same height so that it like kind of seems aligned. Yeah, which is what we want to do. All right, bottom as well, and I think it's going to be applied to this one. Sometimes things get a bit messy with this kind of layout, so you'll just have to like look around and see where you actually have to make your changes. But again, this all comes down to experience, and I think now it should be the way I actually want it to look. Let's apply the background color, and yeah, I think that's what we're looking for here. And perfect. Yeah, so now we can actually duplicate that as well and give it a bit of margin at the top on the bottom one, so that they don't collide with each other. And now I think we're good to go. So we have these 3 different sections that highlight the different parts of the course. And now what we see is that this kind of section is stretched because these are just much bigger. So I think we're going to make this a bit smaller. So we're going to make the image smaller, maybe like 35%, just to kind of align these a bit better, and so that it makes a bit more of a smooth appearance. And I'm also going to make this text a bit longer, just because I think it will look much better. So just copy paste that again. And now I think we are where we want to be. All right, so now we're ready to change up the content of these as well, because right now they all look the same. So we could add in like a different piece of content in here. So maybe we have like a design. I'm just going to choose a random one right here. It doesn't really matter. No, this might not be a good idea because this is such a high photo. So I'd rather use something that I can like fit into this format. So maybe something like this, or like that. Yeah, I'll just choose that one for now, and we'll say like bonus live sessions, for example, as an added feature of this course. And we might say something like for the other one, I don't know, maybe is that one, yeah, like that, one-on-one coaching. I don't know, it really doesn't matter, you know, you're just messing around here. So this might be what you want to do. You could obviously also choose whatever you want your page to look like. All right, next we want to create a testimonial section, and testimonial sections are meant to give your visitors like access to people who actually took your course before or your service, and who are happy with it, so that they can actually read about real people's stories or experiences with whatever you're offering. And it's really quite easy to add that, so we're going to add this into this landing page design as well. So for the design, we'll again be using a 2-column layout, which we'll create right here. So we'll have this duplicated, and then we want to make the section colored this time. So we'll give it a darker color. I think we'll use the secondary color this time. And in one column, we're going to add an image, or like this. We're going to drag it in right here. And this will be like the testimonial of the customer. So let's say in this case, talking about TikTok or TikTok marketing as a part of online marketing, let's talk about that. And let's say that we have like some kind of statistics like right here, which we want to demonstrate, or where we want to show that like a certain user or certain person that has finished our program had like a good success on that platform. So we're going to insert that image right here and make it a bit smaller because that's way too big. Maybe even just by making this column smaller. So what you can do for that is, if you hover between these columns, actually, you get this little element right here, which allows you to drag these columns to left and right and to resize them. And you also see this little indicator that tells you how big both of the columns now are. So we might even go as low as like 35. Yeah, I think 35 would be a good size. And we'll remove the padding that this has, and we'll actually give it a padding in the section like this. So again, classic left and right padding, and then also the top and bottom padding. Now on the right, we'll add in the result of this kind of case study or testimonial that we had. So imagine this is a client or a person that used this course to get a quite a good audience size on TikTok and to like build his business on TikTok, or her business. So what we'll do is we will have a heading, like always. We'll also have some text like this. And we will have another heading, which will be a subheading. And then lastly, we'll have some counter elements. So this is something that's also available in Elementor, the counter, which just like counts up any number that you want. Actually, we might want to use a intersection for that because we want to have multiple counters. So yeah, I think having this intersection makes much more sense. Now you can't see anything because obviously the default styles are this dark black or this dark blue. So we have to change that. We're going to go into the text color and make this one white. And for the other one, we'll make it actually white as well. But for one of them, we'll give it a blue background like this by going to advanced and then background, choosing the background type as classic, and then going to color and then choosing this blue color. And now what we want to do is we want to give this some padding. So like this, a little bit of padding, maybe like 7 pixels. In this case, you want to use pixels. Then in typography, we want to change the size to a much smaller size. So maybe like 16 should be fine. Yeah, I think that looks good. And now we have this full screen or full bar of blue, which we obviously don't want to have. We only want the text to be wrapped in the blue background. So there's a little trick to do that. And it's one of the more advanced features in Elementor, which is changing the positioning of the element. So you can change the width of the element. Now it takes up 100% of the entire space, so that's the default. But we could change that to be an inline element, which means it would only take up as much space as it actually needs. So if we do that, if we click on inline, you see it only takes up the space it needs, and the blue bar now only wraps the actual text. Now this looks a bit cramped right now, so we'll add a bit of padding to the headline in pixels, let's say like 3 for example. And then we would say something like case study reaching 1 million people on TikTok in 2 months, let's say that. And yeah, I think that looks good. And then we'll have like the username of our testimonials, so maybe like @JohnDoe, the web designer. If I don't know if there is an actual person that is called, like, has this username on TikTok, but oh, sorry, I actually can't type web designer. No, doesn't work. Okay, now it should be fine. Yeah. So this is the username of our imaginary client or imaginary course participant, and I think we'll go from there. Also, I think the letter spacing or the line height for these for this text is not that great. I might have to change that in the global settings later, but for now I'm just going to change that in the typography itself. So I'm going to go to line height, and I'm just going to increase it to maybe 1.4. I think that should be fine. Yeah, and leave it like that. All right, next up we have the text. So we'll just style that to be the bold text, so the big text. And we'll also give it a white color, maybe even a bit less like that, so a bit more grayish. Yeah, I think that should look fine. Now this top username doesn't have rounded corners yet, so we'll do that as well. So we'll go to positioning, we'll go to border, and we'll add a bit of border, like 5 pixels. Now it looks good, perfect. And then we can worry about the number counters down here. So this will be like the statistics of our testimonials, so like how many followers he got and how many accounts he reached, how many likes he got, something like this. But first we have to worry about the color because we can't see anything. So we'll make the text color a primary blue, I think, and the typography will be heading 1. And then for the title, the text color will be white, and we'll make this have a typography of maybe heading 5, something like this, yeah. And now we can go back to the content, and we could say something like 50,500. And then we could go down to the title and say followers, for example. And now you see how this automatically counts up to that number and tells us how many followers we actually got. Yeah, I think we have to, yeah, I think that should be fine. All right, and then the next one might be something else, but we'll first copy the style over so that we don't have to adjust it again. And we'll also do this for this empty column, so we'll have 3 columns. Maybe this might be, let's say this is the amount of likes, so we'll say 5. And then we have the option to set a suffix, so we'll say million, well, let's just say mil, because that might be shorter, like this. And then down here we might say likes. And then we might say in the last column something like 500, and then for the suffix we'll say K, and then we'll say people reached. Yeah. And now last thing we want to do is to align all of this to the middle to make it look better. We'll give it a bit more padding on all sides, like this. And I think this should be fine. All right, so in order for this part of the course to not go completely out of hand and to be hours long, it probably already is much too long, but yeah, we'll take a little shortcut here and we'll only create one more additional section. Though I will provide the full landing page that I actually intended to create here in the description down below as a download, so you can use that as well, but we'll not create the whole page in this tutorial because it will just be much too long. So we've gone through this part of the website. Now this looks fine, but lastly I think we're going to create a pricing table. And I know, yeah, I said the course would be free, but I just want to show you how this pricing widget looks. And we have used other widgets like doing a call to action and so already, so I don't want to duplicate that. I don't want to annoy you or bore you, so we'll take a look at a pricing table in Elementor and I'll show you how that works. So we're just going to create an additional section like this, just as we always did, and now we're going to add a pricing table. So there's both a price list and a price table. I will make a really big course on all of the different widgets as well. So check that out once it will be released. But I think for now, we'll just talk about the pricing table. You can check out the price list yourself if you want to. And we'll just enter that into our page. Now this looks a bit squashed or like a bit too wide. So again, we'll change the content width from boxed to a bit smaller width. So maybe like 600 pixels. I even think that's too much. So I think we'll go with 500 and we'll change the padding of the section. Perfect. And now we can go in and actually edit this pricing table. So you could say the title, which will be probably like the name of the item that you're selling. So we'll say digital marketing course, for example. And then the description might be learn digital marketing fast, something like this. Okay. Then for the pricing, we'll use the US dollar symbol. The price is alright at that price, so there's nothing to be changed here. We could actually add in a sale price, so like a temporarily, like the original price, so that we have this as like the discounted price. That's possible, but we'll leave that out for now. Then you could also say something like a period. So if this is something like a membership that you're selling, you could have like a monthly period, like a monthly payment process. And so you could give that information to your users on this page as well. If you don't have something that is like a recurring payment, you could use this to, for example, to enter in, let's say, a 30-day money back guarantee or so. So that's what you could use that for. All right, now features, these are the little items in here. So these are the different things that are actually like part of what you're getting. So pretty much similar to what we added up here. So you can just fill out that list to actually add in all these things. It's pretty easy, just add in an icon and then you can like add in the text as well. We'll just leave this icon as it is, or maybe we'll change it because I like this other check icon much more, like this. And then we'll just duplicate these, maybe have like 4 or 5 of these. So we'll have the list item 1, we'll have list item 2, we'll have list item 3, and then maybe we'll have list item 4 as well. Perfect. Now the footer is the button for once. So this is what the button text actually says. So this would be somewhere where you would put in something like purchase now, for example, and put in the link to your product, to your product page. Maybe if you're selling something on a different platform, link to that here. And you can also add in additional information. This is like the little text down here. So this could also be a good place to add in your 30-day money back guarantee, or to add in some other information that you might be, for example, legally required to include. Depends on what you're selling pretty much. But this is what you could use that for. And then lastly, the ribbon is this little thing up here. So this could say something like popular. You can also say you don't want to show this, so just remove this. Sometimes it might come up a bit scammy if you have that, but some people might like it. You could also say something like recommended, for example. Now that's a great feature if you have multiple pricing plans, for example. So you have like a basic version, a pro version, and a premium version, and then you could have like this recommended like ribbon for one of these, and maybe you have a budget ribbon for the other one, and then you have like an exclusive ribbon for the third one. Something like this would be possible. All right, so now styling this is also pretty easy, just pretty much the same as always. The padding, obviously, we can apply that, so to make it like a bit more spaced out. I think we'll just go with like a bit more padding, so like 7% looks good. The background color for the header, we might use something like this blue right here. I think that just looks better. And then the color of the title will stay the same. Also the typography, we'll go for something like H2 maybe. Yeah, and for the subtitle, we'll go with the same color, or maybe like a bit more of a gray, like this. And then we'll give it a font style of the big text, like this. pretty much same as always. Then for the pricing, we'll go with we'll just leave the background color. I think that's fine. The padding can be something similar, so maybe like 10 pixels, 10%. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay, so the pricing itself, we'll give that the darker color. This will be a H1 in size. Then the currency symbol might be a bit bigger in size, so like this. I think that looks better. The position is also correct. And yeah, I think that looks fine. For the period, like this one down here, we are going to add in the text style. We'll give this a normal text typography. And then for these features, we'll actually do something pretty similar. So we'll just go with, what do you want to go with? Maybe we want to have the color of these be something like blue. I think that's a bit too much. So maybe just stay with the secondary color. And then for the typography, choose the normal text. And I think the width, yeah, we could just keep it at 100%. This should be fine. Let's take a look at the footer. This also looks fine. It usually, like this is the little text element at the bottom. You might also just leave that out if you don't need it, but I think we could just leave it like this and save, and I think this looks quite nice. Oh, maybe one more thing for the ribbon up here. You see that it kind of doesn't fit the screen because it's too big, so you might want to give it a bigger distance from the corner, and also you might just want to like change the typography, so make it a bit smaller, for example, and then it will fit better. So like this, and now it actually fits the corner and it doesn't look like too cut off also. Alright, that's it for this part of the course. I think this was a really extensive part. It took really long, but sometimes it just takes a bit longer to build your design from scratch. So if you are then going on to design your own websites, you can obviously use a lot more templates as well. And also you will get access to the full landing page template, as I said, in the description down below. So that's it for this part, and I hope I'll see you in the next part of the course.